All right, welcome everyone to the deep dive. Today we're going to be looking into this, well, kind of a wild idea, right? It's the era of like these huge online marketplaces, Amazon, the big names. Could it be over sooner than we think?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, and we've been looking into some research that suggests that maybe it's not just evolving, but actually the traditional model of the marketplace might be heading towards extinction in the next like 5 years.
Extinction. Wow. Okay, that's a big claim. So, what's behind that kind of a dramatic prediction? It seems like the argument hinges on two big trends kind of colliding.
Exactly. So one is the increasing demand, right, from consumers, from you guys, for products and practices that are sustainable and ethical. And then, of course, the other side of it is this really fast growth of AI and how sophisticated it's getting. AI that can connect buyers and sellers directly.
Right. So AI cutting out the middleman, essentially. Okay, so in this deep dive, we're going to really dig into these two trends, figure out how they're playing together, and see why some experts think that this could be the end of the line for these big online marketplaces that we all use all the time. And for those of you who want to get up to speed quickly, we'll make sure this is clear, insightful, like a good overview of everything that's going on. So let's start, I guess, by talking about sustainability. This idea that the way these marketplaces work is becoming unsustainable.
Yeah. One of the interesting things here is that there's this kind of inherent tension, right?
Hmm.
Between how marketplaces work, which is all about volume, minimizing costs. And then on the other hand, you have sustainability, which often means higher production costs, more localized supply chains, making sure everything is transparent. And then, rigorous processes to verify everything. And these two things, a lot of times they clash.
Right? It's almost like they're opposites. These platforms get so big because they're all about scale and low prices, but being truly sustainable at that kind of scale seems almost impossible, right? And we're seeing people's values changing. Consumers aren't just looking for the cheapest thing or the fastest delivery anymore. There's this rise of what is it? Conscious consumerism.
Yeah.
So what does that really mean?
Yeah, conscious consumerism. It's basically it's about consumers who are making decisions based on, how ethical a company is, what their environmental impact is. So not just price and convenience, but the bigger picture. They want to know, where did the products come from? How were they made? What's the impact on the world?
Yeah, yeah. And that puts a lot of pressure on these huge marketplaces. How can a platform with millions of sellers all over the world, how can they actually guarantee that everything is ethical and environmentally sound, especially when their supply chains are so complex and often kind of hidden?
Right. It's a massive challenge. Like, think about trying to trace every single component in just one product, right? And then verifying that everyone who worked on it was treated fairly, across all these different factories. And then, making sure the product is disposed of responsibly at the end of its life. I mean, for millions of products, it's a logistical nightmare. When these marketplaces try to address sustainability, it can feel a bit like a band-aid on a much bigger problem.
Yeah, right. So slapping a few green labels on things or saying you're going to reduce carbon emissions, that might not be enough anymore, especially as consumers get more informed and more demanding. And this is where we start to see a different kind of online shopping experience emerging, right? These curated marketplaces that are all about sustainability.
Now, exactly. So you have platforms like Green Eco Dream, Shades of Green, these sorts of places. And they're not just selling products, they're really built around ethical sourcing, transparency. Being environmentally responsible is like their whole brand. They're going after these conscious consumers that we were just talking about.
So the almost like selling a set of values as much as they're selling products. It's very different
Mm,
from just, being on a giant kind of anonymous marketplace.
yeah.
And it's not just about the products themselves, right? It's the whole process, like all the shipping and packaging.
Absolutely. All the waste that comes from packaging, all the emissions from shipping things all over the world. It's a huge environmental impact, and people are becoming much more aware of that.
Right. It's hard to ignore when you have a mountain of cardboard boxes piling up
Yeah.
on your door, right?
Oh.
So if people care about sustainability
Hmm.
and they see that these big marketplaces aren't really changing, it makes sense that they would start looking for other options, places that share their values.
Yeah, exactly. And the argument is that this is going to happen more and more. These conscious consumers are going to leave the big marketplaces behind if they don't adapt. They might end up being, kind of like relics of a time when people didn't think about this stuff as much.
Okay, so that's the sustainability side of things.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about AI. This idea of AI-powered disintermediation. It sounds well, kind of complicated, but what does it really mean?
Basically, it means that AI is getting so good that it can do what marketplaces were originally built to do, connect buyers and sellers. But AI can do it in a much smarter way. It can be more personalized, it can take values into account, so it's challenging the whole idea of needing a marketplace in the middle.
So instead of having to go through all these listings on a giant platform, AI could kind of be like a personal shopper, but way smarter.
Exactly. So, most marketplaces have recommendation engines, search functions, right? But they're usually pretty basic. They're just matching keywords or looking at what other people bought. But AI can analyze way more data. It can figure out your needs, your preferences, even your values, like how much you care about ethical sourcing or sustainability.
Okay, this is where it gets really cool. So imagine like an AI personal shopping assistant, right?
Hmm.
It wouldn't just find you the cheapest thing. It would find you the best option, but best according to your specific criteria. So it would look at, is it ethically sourced? What's the environmental impact? What materials were used? Even what the company stands for? All of that.
Yeah, and that's the potential of this AI-powered disintermediation. We're talking about a future where you don't need these giant marketplaces anymore. AI agents can connect you directly with the right sellers, sellers that match your values perfectly, and the marketplace becomes kind of irrelevant.
So no more scrolling through endless pages of stuff, not knowing where it came from, if it was made ethically, all that.
Yeah.
It just knows.
Right. And it has huge benefits for consumers. You can start building relationships with brands that you actually trust, brands that share your values, and you get way more control over your choices. You can look for things that traditional marketplaces they don't even let you filter by.
So it's like more transparent, more trust, more control. That's pretty appealing.
Yeah.
And how does blockchain fit into all of this?
So blockchain is this kind of digital ledger, right? It's shared, it's unchangeable, it can track everything. So you can use blockchain to track a product's journey from the very beginning, like where the raw materials were mined, all the way to the final sale. And then AI can come in and analyze all that data. It can check if sustainability claims are true, if things were ethically sourced, if there are any red flags.
You could like scan a product with your phone or something, and it would tell you everything about it, like complete history, verified by blockchain and analyzed by AI.
Yeah, that's the idea. It gives consumers so much power. They can make informed choices. They don't have to rely on marketplaces to tell them what's what. Especially since, as we said, marketplaces don't always have the best track record when it comes to being honest about these things.
Okay, so we have this push for sustainability, and we have AI that can connect buyers and sellers directly and verify everything. So how does this all lead to the 5-year extinction prediction?
Right. So the argument is that marketplaces are kind of stuck. They can't really become truly sustainable, not at the scale they're at, not without changing their whole business model. And at the same time, AI is offering a better way to do things, so they're being squeezed from both sides.
Yeah, it's like they built this huge machine, but the world is changing, and the machine isn't designed for this new world.
Exactly. And the prediction is that the future of e-commerce is going to be more decentralized, more focused on values, and it's going to be powered by AI. Transparency, accountability, consumers having the power, that's what's coming.
So the big question is, are these big marketplaces, are they shooting themselves in the foot? I mean, they're so focused on growth, on low prices. Are they missing these bigger changes that are happening?
It's a huge question. They might be underestimating how much people care about sustainability, how powerful AI is becoming. If they're not careful, they could be left behind. Their model might just become, well, unsustainable.
Okay, so to recap, we talked about how these big online marketplaces are facing this challenge from consumers who want more sustainable, more ethical products. And these platforms are having a hard time delivering that because of how they're set up, how big and complex they are.
Yeah.
So people are starting to turn to smaller, more focused marketplaces that are all about those values.
And we talked about how AI is changing everything. It can connect buyers and sellers directly. It can verify information using blockchain. It can personalize the whole shopping experience. And all of that makes the traditional marketplace model seem kind of outdated.
And the big prediction is that in 5 years, these big marketplaces, they might be gone, extinct. unless they adapt, of course.
Exactly. It's a huge challenge for them. It'll be interesting to see who can change and survive in this new world of online shopping.